Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, in a quiet village nestled between green hills and deep woods, there lived a cheerful little girl named Rose. But no one ever called her that. Instead, they called her Little Red Riding Hood because she always wore the red cloak her grandmother had sewn for her when she was just a baby. The hood had become her favorite thing in the world, and wherever she went, it went with her. One spring morning, Red's mother called to her from the kitchen.
Red, come here, darling. I have a favor to ask.
Red skipped into the room, her cloak swaying with every step. Her mother placed a warm basket on the table.
Yes, Mama.
Her mother placed the warm basket on the table. It was filled with fresh bread, creamy butter, a small jar of raspberry jam, and a bottle of tea sweetened with honey.
Your grandmother isn't feeling well. She's been coughing and hasn't had the strength to cook. I want you to take this basket to her cottage in the woods.
Red's eyes lit up. She loved visiting her grandmother, who always told her magical stories and made her laugh.
I'll go right away.
But promise me something, Red. Stay on the path. The woods are lovely, but they can be dangerous. And very important, don't talk to strangers.
I promise.
Said Red, hugging her tightly. With the basket in hand and the hood over her head, Little Red Riding Hood set off down the forest path, humming a cheerful tune. The sun peeked through the trees, painting dappled gold patterns on the forest floor. Birds chirped in the treetops, and squirrels scampered playfully along the branches. But while Red admired the world around her, she did not notice a pair of sharp eyes watching her from the shadows. A wolf, lean and hungry, crouched behind a bush, licking his lips as he watched the girl stroll along. He stepped onto the path, pretending to look friendly.
Good morning, little girl. And where are you off to on this fine day?
Red hesitated. Her mother had told her not to talk to strangers, but this creature looked polite.
To visit my grandmother. She lives in the cottage past the big oak tree just beyond the bend.
How kind of you. And what do you have in that lovely basket?
Some bread and jam. And tea. She's not feeling well.
Such a good granddaughter. I'm sure she'll be delighted. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have business to attend to.
With a polite nod, he slinked off into the forest. But of course, the wolf had no business except one, to reach the grandmother's cottage before Little Red Riding Hood did. He took a shortcut through the undergrowth, running swiftly and silently. Within minutes, he arrived at the little cottage with blue shutters and a crooked chimney. He knocked on the door.
Who's there?
It's me, Little Red Riding Hood. I've brought you some treats,
Said the wolf, imitating Red's voice.
Come in, dear.
The door creaked open and in leapt the wolf. The poor grandmother barely had time to gasp before the wolf swallowed her whole in a single gulp. Then he searched her closet, pulled on her cloths, and curled up under the blankets in her bed, waiting. A little while later, Little Red Riding Hood arrived at the cottage. She knocked softly.
Grandmother, it's me.
Come in, dear,
Said the wolf, disguising his voice. Red entered, but something felt strange. The room was darker than usual, and the figure in the bed looked different.
Grandmother, what big ears you have.
All the better to hear you with, my dear.
And what big eyes you have.
All the better to see you with.
Red stepped closer.
And what big hands you have.
All the better to hug you with.
Now, Red was truly puzzled.
But grandmother, what big teeth you have.
All the better to eat you with.
The wolf roared, leaping out of bed. Red screamed and dropped the basket as the wolf lunged toward her. But just at that moment, crash! The door burst open. A hunter, who had been walking nearby, heard the scream and rushed in with his axe.
Step away from the girl, beast!
The wolf turned, growling, but the hunter was faster. He chased the wolf around the room until the creature stumbled and tripped into the corner. With the wolf knocked out, the hunter quickly cut open its belly, and to everyone's relief, out popped the grandmother, shaken but alive.
Oh, my stars, what a terrible nap.
Red hugged her tightly.
I was so scared. I thought I'd lost you forever.
The grandmother patted her back gently.
You were very brave, my darling.
They all sat down to catch their breath. Red handed over the food, and they shared warm bread and sweet tea as the grandmother told the hunter how grateful she was. The hunter tied up the wolf and carried him far into the forest, where he would never bother anyone again. As the sun began to set, Red and her grandmother stood at the door.
Next time, I'll listen to Mama. No talking to strangers.
Her grandmother smiled.
And no leaving the path.
Lesson learned.
She walked home with the empty basket in her hands, but a full heart. Her mother hugged her tightly when she returned.
From now on, I'll be careful. I promise.
And so, Little Red Riding Hood lived happily and wisely ever after, and she never again strayed from the path in the woods. And so, Little Red Riding Hood lived happily and wisely ever after, and she never again strayed from the path in the woods.